start the stream again.
And I mean, I really want to hear that. That's such a cool story about you going out on the weather deck and so on. And
that part we got. For the folks listening in, the stream is back up. So I had some serious technical difficulties here on this end through the internet service provider. So I got kicked off. I got lost completely. I had some serious technical difficulties. Somebody, okay. Yeah, I got some feedback there. Okay. gotta go with the headphones on these shows. So now it is back up and running. And Kevin, you were talking about some of the effects. We got most of that. We talked a little bit, the part where you talked about going up on deck and seeing the UFO yourself. That's about where we lost everything. So if we want to go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we had an opportunity to give a good plug-in for the UFO MegaCon that's coming up at the last week of March 2019.
Yeah, you guys are going to get to meet directly and see each other and I guess do some presentations and all that fun stuff.
Yep, I'll be giving a 1-hour talk myself, plus I'll be participating in the military whistleblower panel, and I believe Dave Beaty will be there with us, who's online with us now. And in addition to that, Lorianne Fenton and Melinda Leslie have 48 really outstanding speakers lined up, including some other military whistleblowers. And some of these people have never spoke out before. In fact, this will be my first UFO anything. I was never a UFO guy before. Don't really consider myself one now, other than I have a story that needs to be told, and people need to hear it because there is something flying in our skies, and it seems to be being ignored. But anyway, the UFO MegaCon will be in Laughlin, Nevada, at the Aquarius Hotel and Casino, and it's from the 25th to the 31st of March, 2019. And Lorianne Fenton and Melinda Leslie, Bob Brown, they've got some really good packages set up to keep the price as low as possible. And if you're at all interested in there'll be a lot more discussion about human post effects at that conference, which is an element of what we're dealing with here.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And radar is physical evidence, Kevin. Don't forget to bang that point home.
Physical evidence. Any traffic court can tell you that.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And Dave, you're going to be presenting there as well?
Yeah, Frank, thanks. I'm going to be there presenting my film. I hope to have an update with the movie. And, again, this show, this topic is probably one of the most important events in the last decade as far as UFO cases go. And I think that having participants and witnesses all in one place like this show today is pretty incredible.
It was.
Yeah, and I hope more witnesses come forward. That whistleblowers panel could use some more military witnesses. And I know if you reach out to one of us, we can maybe put you in touch with the people organizing that panel. Again, you don't have to use your name and so on if you don't want to. You can also reach me at anon@thenimitzEncounters.com. That email works as well.
And for the few folks left who have not seen your film, you can watch it over on YouTube, of course.
Yeah. If you go to thenimitzEncounters.com, I believe you go to youtube.com/the Nimitz Encounters, it'll pull it up, which is free there to view it. 1.3 million views at this point since November.
What it is now?
Yeah.
Once it got to 1 million, I stopped keeping score.
It may go over 2 million. I don't know. It just keeps growing, and the comments are very interesting. I've received hundreds of UFO reports. One of the latest ones I got last week. I'll give you a little brief one on that. The military guys will enjoy this one. U.S. Coast Guard cutter. Somewhere, I believe it was in the Caribbean, and two watchstanders that were on the deck or on the bridge at night, standing watch, scanning the horizon. And one of the coasties sees this glowing green object that's about 10 feet off the bow of this cutter. And this is at night. So it's like, I guess it came up and it's hovering just off the bow of the Coast Guard cutter. And he and the female watchstander both saw it. And it begins kind of traveling towards them down the side of the cutter. And one of them yells into the navigator to come out and check it out. So this other coastie comes out, and they're all standing there, and this thing slowly comes towards them down the side of the vessel. And they said it was about the size of a basketball, glowing green like orb. And it stops there like it's checking them out. That's what they said. And then suddenly it just like drops down into the ocean and disappears below. Wow. I mean, so I'm getting a lot of reports like that. Obviously, they're anecdotal. They didn't have radar of it and all that kind of thing. But 3 witnesses, I have their names and the whole thing. So,
and also the film is available over at Amazon now as well.
Yeah, the movie. If you want to watch it on your flat panel, which sometimes the quality's better there than just on your computer, you can just go to Amazon Video and search for the Nimitz Encounters there as well on Prime.
And my own opinion is you definitely you're better off watching it on the big screen if you got the home theater rig set up. I watched it, and one thing I mentioned to you, it was funny. I'd watched the Nimitz Encounters on the home theater, and not too long after that, I was able to see the Christopher Nolan film Dunkirk, where they had a few aerial scenes. And I got to tell you, Dave, your work holds up very well to what those guys did, the CGI scenes that you did. And I'm not kidding about that. I mean, I'm not saying it's better, but I mean, it's in the ballpark. It's right there.
Thanks, man. That's a high praise, Frank. Now, here's a little aside. I was on a film shoot at a hospital, and one of the producers was mentioning his hobby of flying radio-controlled planes, and he mentioned the fact that he had built and flown the German bomber that was in the movie Dunkirk. So in that movie, if you see whatever the Henkel or whatever German bomber, he built like a 10-foot wingspan version of that thing and actually flew it in the movie. So that was a little link to that.
Right. Nice. And PJ, are you going to be at this event as well? This big event they're having out in Laughlin, the UFO MegaCon?
I certainly am.
You looking forward to it?
That I am. It'll be nice to get us all in one place to talk. And
you're going to be presenting as well, correct?
Just a part of the panel.
Got it. Yeah, Dave, I know you've been involved in the UFOs going back in the day, and then took a little break there. Have you ever gotten the opportunity to do a presentation before a live audience?
Not about this topic, Frank. I mean, I've been involved in the video field for a long time, and I've given classes and seminars on my craft, but I haven't really talked about UFOs, so to speak. At this event, I'm not a speaker per se. Like PJ said, I'm going to present my film and answer questions and so on from the audience. So
still, you guys are going to have a blast. You really are. I've only been to one myself. I presented there. And it was a great experience. It was, and I'd like to do more of it. But real life gets in the way sometimes. But I had a blast. And good luck to all 3 of you guys when you go out and do that.
Thank you.
Hey, I know they're going to have an implant scanner out there too, Kevin. So
I'm gonna walk by that booth. Trust me. Hey, one more thing on the military panelists. Melinda Leslie's got some real good packages set up. So that it's not going to cost a guy or a gal anything to show up. If you want to be participate in the military panel, please contact us because they will take care of you. They'll make sure you're able to get there and get home.
They'll get you there,
and you'll have a good time
spread
there.
Out over. You will. Yeah, you'll have a great time, and some people will approach you. I think you'll all be surprised. You'll have people approach you with their stories, and you might be able to gather up some more information that will be useful going forward. I predict that will happen.
Yeah,
I expect it to happen.
People now, Dave, you mentioned that you got more information to add to your documentary already. So, are you going to do like a revised version of the Nimitz Encounters, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, let me tell you a bit about that. That may have gotten cut off on our technical glitch on the streaming feed, so. I am. I've thought about it, and I don't have any real, producer above me or studio or anything with the film, so I can just do anything I want. I don't think I'm going to make a Nimitz 2, but I think I'm just going to continue evolving the film. So having the video interviews with PJ and Kevin and Gary and whoever else I can entice to sharing their experience of this event is really going to make it much more interesting. And I can tell the story of the Wallbanger Squadron, the VA W-117 E-2 Hawkeyes, and the fact that an entire crew saw this object. I'm going to put the viewer in that plane to see what it looked like flying past them from that vantage point, a whole new chapter. I still haven't done the story of Lieutenant Colonel Douglas Kurth, who saw the sea surface disturbance. He was the first pilot on the scene. It's an interesting part. I have to contemplate, what things are most interesting, and I don't want to drag the film down too much with lots and lots of details, which I tend to do.
Well, the running time now is just under 20, if I recall right, like 17 or 18 minutes.
Yeah, right. So it's not a traditional movie. You call it a short. I could easily take it out to a feature-length documentary, around an hour running time. The one thing that I need to do for real is, I borrowed Commander Fravor's interview from To the Stars Academy. They were gracious enough to give me permission to use it. But, I didn't film that, and I don't have rights to distribute it or to sell it. So it would be really great if I could interview one of the fighter pilots just to get them on camera to give me their story, so that then I don't, I'm not tied to the Stars and their property, which I don't want to be. So.
Right. So, David Fravor, if you're listening in today, Dave Beaty wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
As do we.
Or Jim Slate, another one of the pilots, decorated hero, top fighter instructor, flying these, even I think he flies like the F-35 or something. Chad Nuts Underwood, that Commander Fravor, one of his friends, and all these guys, I would love to talk to them just to get their story.
We'd love to hear it.
I think you've done the case enough justice, and and given it the proper attention with your documentary that they, I think you earned it.
Well, if you look at the mission of, for instance, To the Stars, which is a public benefit corporation, when I look at their mission statement and how they're trying to help the global citizens and the United States citizens to better understand this phenomena, I want to help them. I want people to understand that this event occurred and based on the witnesses and science, not speculation, and not jumping to conclusions that I don't have the answers to. I don't know what the Tic Tac is, nor do anyone else, as far as I know. I mean, maybe somebody does. It's a secret, right? But I don't know. And I think that, moving the discussion forward, perhaps getting the eyes of the United States government to look at this, take it seriously, to apply some more resources to the study of unknown events in our airspace that could be a threat to military and civilian aircraft, for instance. And the whole backside of it, credible witnesses reporting just unreal phenomena that are associated with this stuff, post effects, people's lives being altered, families being disrupted by encounters that have not been explained. It's time for at least some serious study.
And Dave, just to jump in, when you say threats to military or commercial aircraft, pretty much anything and everything is regarded as a threat to aviation. I've seen the list. Birds are a threat to aviation. Just ask Sully Sullenberger. Weather, obviously, is a threat to aviation, and also apparently to internet connections, as we found out the hard way today. And distractions, which a UFO could obviously present. Hey, I'm looking at the UFO. I'm not. I'm flying on instruments right now. I'm not paying attention to my instruments. I'm looking at the UFO. Bad things can happen up in the air.
Well, I mean, Leslie Kane's book about generals and UFOs. I mean, That's a great, excuse me, that's a great book that describes that exact problem. I would ask any person that is interested and have done any reading, think about what happens to motor vehicles when they encounter UFOs at close range. It's the first thing you ever hear of, just watch Project Blue Book. I'm sure that's in the next episode, is that the car shuts off. If you're flying in a jumbo jet at 30,000 feet with 200 passengers, do you really want that to occur? And I certainly don't want to be in that jet.
No, not when you're 35,000 feet in the air. You don't want any kind of problems at all.
No.
But when you say threat, we're talking about sort of an in-the-moment situational type thing, as compared with a threat, an existential threat to humanity. I don't think we're talking about that.
Hostile intent, I don't think so. It's just a hazard, basically, to aircraft. Obviously, mid-air collision, close, mid-air collisions, and so on. In our airspace, it's a threat to aviation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And PJ, you have any final thoughts? I certainly do appreciate you coming on, sir.
No final thoughts on my behalf. Just look forward to seeing everybody at UFO MegaCon.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know if it's going to happen for sure, but there is at least a chance that our own Chant Hannah might be out there for that. So if she does, I'm going to mention that for sure. Approach you. You've been on the show at the same time with her in the past, Dave. She co-hosts with me on occasion, has been part of some of our panels. So if she does get hold of you, Dave, if she is able to make it, by all means, help her out a little bit and get her acquainted with some of the fine witnesses that you've gathered together.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely look forward to that happening.
Yep, definitely looking forward to it, and we'll get a progress report, I'm sure. Maybe some new news breaks. You never know who might show up and what they might have, but that looks like a heck of a lineup. And also, Richard Doty is going to be there, which I think will be really, which I think will be a real interesting addition.
Yeah.
That's one way of putting it.
So, again, everybody, thanks for coming on. I do want to run through our lineup for next weekend because we do have a couple shows coming up for next weekend. Dean Aliotto, a filmmaker, made the infamous McPherson tape back in the 80s, kind of a low-budget guerrilla-type film. And what he was able to do was parlay that into something of a remake for the UPN network back in the day. And a very serious guy about the UFOs. He'll be a great interview. He's going to be on next Saturday at 3, and then next Sunday, James, this is one I know you've been looking forward to. Why don't you tell the folks about Dr. Pasulka and her appearance on our show next Sunday?
Oh, absolutely. Professor Diana Pasulka, who's her book actually just came out on Kindle, American Cosmic UFOs, Technology, Religion. She has a really interesting vantage point, concerning this subject and her journey through it. And of course, she's a director of a chair in the University of North Carolina, which, helps bring a credibility to the subject. Although she views it from the vantage of religion and belief. But when you read her book, American Cosmic, you're going to see there's much more to it than that. Both on the perception and the actual reality of the subject and the people who are involved with it. So that's going to be a fascinating show. I'm really looking forward to that. And actually, for people who are listening live, to give a plug for her and George Knapp, who everybody here respects so much, Diana Pasulka will be on Coast to Coast tonight with George Knapp. So that, that's going to be one to listen to too.
That'll be a lot of fun. Now, Kevin, you actually did your very first interview about all this on the George Knapp show. So I was talking about jumping into the deep end of the pool right away. I didn't mean to ask you about this, and now that James has brought up George's name, tell us a little bit about that experience, if you can.
Yeah, that's when it seems like 100 years ago now, but it's only been just a few short months. And man, how much has changed. I can't even believe how much has changed since then. My life suddenly changed again about a year ago. I went on the program with George, and He is probably the best in the business, I have to tell you. When you're on the radio with him, he really helps you out a lot. Kind of keeps the interview moving, and I think it was a pretty good interview. And it's available on YouTube, and people can go listen to it anytime.
Yeah, we've got a little ways to go before we catch up with him. He's got a little bit of experience on us, so we're just getting started. But I sure do appreciate all you guys giving us a shot and coming back on with us. Dave, again, always a pleasure. You're one of our finest guests. You never come empty-handed. You always bring great stuff when you do come on. Dave, thanks again. Good luck to all three of you guys in the future. And James, we'll be talking again next weekend with Dr. Pasulka. And sorry about the technical glitch. It was out of my hands, but it did get fixed, and we did get to finish out the show properly. So, fellas, I sure do appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Shout out to UFOJoe.net.
Yes, sir, Joe Merger.
Yeah, he's really helped me out in our study group, along with SilvaRecord.com researcher Danny Silva. He couldn't make it today, but both those two guys I just want to shout out and to my buds on the ATIP group. Absolutely.
James, anything else before we close it up?
Oh, that's about it. I got to get it going.
Understood. So we'll wrap up the show here. Unfortunately, it's going to be broken up into two different videos, but it's going to be there for you. And I think what we brought to the table today was really one of our finest shows. So thanks again, everybody. Technical issues notwithstanding, the data is still there. So thanks again, and join us again next weekend. Bye-bye now. Have a great week.